around the country when he was earning a master's, doing all these programs, PhD. He would always sit us down. We'd have to watch all those replays of the civil rights movement, the dogs chewing us up, the marching, all of that. I didn't understand it, but he'd make us sit down in front of him and watch it. Then as he got older and became in leadership, the youngest superintendent, I believe that he was, what, 39? 39. On Sundays after church, I'd have to come home, sit down, watch him meet the press, all of that. That's how he learned how to speak. And I'm just saying, why is he doing all this? He was grooming me. The mayor talked about passing the baton. He was getting me ready for my leadership, for my professional walk. My dad is he's very complicated. People were trying to pick me to run for this, run for that. My dad said, "You're not running for, you know." We got enough broke black politicians. You're gonna go make some money.
My dad had told me
that. So my influence has been my dad. He helped me start my business. I couldn't call all these business leaders and ask them for money. He picked the phone up and challenged them. Look, my son gave you good 5 years of Morgan Keegan, help him. He would challenge him. So you as elected officials, you gotta challenge these people out here, your consultants, all these contractors. These developers are making millions. My dad made sure he mandated inclusion on that FedEx stadium, the parking garages, everything you see downtown. In his leadership, it was strong inclusion. So with that, I want to introduce you to my family. This is my wife who stood side by side with me. I mean, career. I traveled every week, and she homeschooled my 3 boys. She gave up an electrical engineering career to raise these 3 sons, because it takes a village. So I have to give her all of that. My oldest son graduated Stanford 2 years ago. He's in real estate now, lives in Austin. My middle son graduated from the University of Miami, Coral Gables. He works for my company down in Miami. He's his own man. I don't see him. I don't know what he's doing. I just know he's working hard. And then again, my youngest is at UCLA. So with that, I want to bring my father up as we honor him. Actually, right there. What I'm going to do is bring Keith over next time. Okay, Keith. Thank you all.
If we could just kind of put that up top there. Dr. Herentin, how you doing? All right, this is my school superintendent. As you know, I grew up here in Memphis. This was the superintendent that came to the schools to see the students. He didn't just sit in the ivory tower in the building over at the place where all of the superintendents and the administrators were. He came out to the schools to visit us, to talk about how he made it to where he was. Great influence on many, many, many people in this city. So this is a great honor for me to even be up here to present this award to you. This work of art is called The Derivative. I'm a Man Number 4. It was created by Mr. George Hunt and Charlie Palmer. This was the last work of art that George Hunt created prior to his death. George Hunt was a Memphis artist, born in Arkansas, but raised here in Memphis for the most part. He was an educator all of his life, Carver High School. Many of you here know Mr. Hunt as Coach Hunt. You didn't know him as the artist. So this man decided at the very end he was going to go in and do some additional work to a painting that he had already created. And he asked me, he said, "Boy, what should we call this thing?" That was my name to him. "Boy, what should we call this?" And I said, "Actually, Mr. Hunt, it's a derivative." And so he just started laughing. He said, "Well, what the hell does that mean?" And I said, "So it's a work that you've already created, but you've made a decision to go back into the work to create a new work of art." He said, "I want you to get that boy from Atlanta, Charlie Palmer, to come in and do some additional derivative work on my derivative." I said, "Okay." Okay, we'll do that. So the collage elements that you see in the piece, under the left side of this gentleman's brim, the flag background and some of the additional things on the suspenders, all of that collage work was done by Charlie Palmer. So this is a major collector's item now because it was the last part of the I Am a Man series that George Hunt created. So I want to make sure that we get this to your home, do the installation for you sometimes next week, and I pray that you enjoy it for many, many years.
Thank you very much. Let me make a very comical statement. The young man that's providing you this group with the wonderful music is one of my favorites. I didn't know he was going to be here today, and I'm always kidding him that before I leave here, I'm going to let him do a piece with me on one of my albums. He knows I'm kidding. I don't know if I do. It's good to see you. Let me welcome all of you elected officials from across the country to Memphis. I'm a little emotional. I want to say to the mayor, and Mr. Mayor, you gave a very timely presentation. Very timely. Tomorrow, if the good Lord wakes me up, I will be 82 years old. Tomorrow I will also unveil the book covers for my memoir and 3 other books that are interlinking. One of those books will be very important for all of you who are elected officials to really read, because it talks about the peril and the penalty of Black leadership. So I felt that out of all of my experiences being a school superintendent, 12 years, and being mayor, I guess about 18 years, I had a lot to say. Breaking barriers, I want to thank the late Maynard Jackson. When I first became mayor, I reached out to Maynard, I reached out to Marion Barry. Mary and I grew up in the same neighborhood. I'd never been a mayor before. I've been a school superintendent, so I called him and said, look, man, tell me, what is this mayor's thing all about? Because Shep will tell you, I didn't really want to be the mayor. They got me involved in this people's convention. I said, man, I don't want to be no damn politician on education. And long story short, as Derek just pointed out, Memphis built a runoff. And so when that was nullified, I see Julia Bolton, former commissioner, here, lawyer, and Shep remembers that we could never win. As Black, we'd always lose in the runoff. So when that was nullified, and then I was selected as the Black candidate, and we won. After winning, I said, Maynard, he said, Mayor, let me tell you what you know, Maynard Dirty, oh, Mayor, let me tell you what you got to do in Memphis. You know, Maynard was very distinguished. He said, you got to bring in Black investment bankers. He said, we've looked at your portfolio. And at that time, we didn't have it was, I don't know, $1 million. So I said, there was a company from Atlanta, prior counts in Clinton. They were huge, you know. Some of you that are my age, you know, they were huge. So I said, Maynard, we don't have them in Memphis. I said, but you got them in Atlanta. I brought them in, and we broke that barrier. I think we had 17 asset managers, not a single one of them black. So I think we gave about $100 million, and then Ronnie, they created another company called Wedge Capital or something. So I think we gave them a whole lot of million. But anyway, we broke the barrier. Maynard said that's what you got to do, you got to empower blacks. Marion Barry said, well, we go just know Marion. One of my, I don't care what people say about Marion Barry. Marion Barry made a difference.
Amen.
He was a great man. None of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. But it was a great man, cared about the district of Columbia. It was very impactful. So I learned a lot from those guys. Mr. Mayor, in one of my books, and I hope that once my books are published, that I get a chance to come and speak to the Conference of Black Mayors, because, and I'll say this and I'll talk about my family and I'll sit down. My last 2 years as mayor, and my book was 2007, 2009, were the most tumultuous and trying periods in my public service. The powers to be, because I was mayor for life, they couldn't beat me at the polls. What they did, they put the United States Justice Department.
They'll do that.
They put plots. For 2 years, I was under an intense federal investigation. The newspaper, you guys would hear, I'm in the newspaper every day. It was shaping public opinion, portraying me as a criminal. Well, long story short, I went to go through that, and my family suffered that. So in this book, I talk about when you're a black leader, you pay a price to be free. Because you're a real leader, and I'm straight up, no bribes, nothing crooked. The criminalization of my blackness, I'm writing a chapter on that, when you're a real leader. And sometimes the very people that you brought up through the ranks, when you stayed as long as I did, I knew I was unbeatable. There wasn't no ego, that was just it. I was a man.
Right.
They set me up with women, they tagging my phone. I don't want to tell you, but long story short, you'll see it all in my book. But I want to say to all of you, the mayor gave a very compelling address for such a time as this. And I thought about it, I said, the theme is how soon we forget. Dr. King said that in one, how soon we forget. And if you're not careful, they'll turn the clock back on. So you gotta be vigilant, you gotta be tough-minded, and so some of the local officials are not gonna like what I say in my book, because a lot of what I'm gonna say in my book piggybacks on what the mayor was saying. Some of the local officials have forgotten those who came before them. And they in positions for the wrong damn reasons. So they ain't gonna like my book. So it's a whole different breed. I don't know about y'all citizens in Memphis, whole different breed. I know I'm old school. Yeah, I'm like I guess Kobe, and all that kind of stuff. And we got different groups of elected officials today.
Amen.
Look at Memphis today, all of the political paradigm is shifting. It's shifting. Anyway, I didn't give you a long speech. Let me tell you about these kids over here. Breaking generational poverty. I prayed to God would allow me to do that. Most of us here, first generation college graduates and that. So I graduated, first high school graduate in my family, then college, then a master's and then a PhD. So I broke the ceiling in education for my family. And that's when I was able to run in Duke to Morehouse. in Harvard. Then look at their sons. This is important to us as black people. Then we'll talk about generational wealth, then we'll sit down. So we were able to break that, and then I'm looking at my offspring. I'm proud of these boys.
Yeah.
Well, Rodney didn't just graduated from Stanford. He graduated in the top 10% of this year. He competed with students all over the world. I'm proud of all these kids, but it's the sacrifices that the man talked about. It's still about. I probably talked too long. Derek, you
That's
kids
all right.
That's
all right.
And I get a little emotional. There's a lot of struggles. They don't understand what all it took, man, coming up, man, being the first. Being the first, yeah. The first superintendent. Who's from Baltimore? Let me tell you, 3 East 25th Street. You didn't know I did my training. Why do I remember 3 East 25th? You may not remember Roland Patterson. Let me explain something to you. This man was about this tall. That's the strongest man. Listen to me, Ronald. When I took y'all to Maryland, y'all were living in Columbia. I did my training in Baltimore. Roland Patterson about this tall. Y'all have a voter, all of them, as some guy named Olinsky or something. They were tough. And Roland Patterson, this man, as tall as I am, man, every time I got around him, it's like I'm looking at him. He was one of the smartest, one of the strongest men I ever met in my life. I learned so much from him. Then I went over to D.C., Long Sizemore was the superintendent. But then I was prepared to be the mayor. 12 years, so I think about all of those leaders that I worked under. And I remember, I will never forget this. She said, Baltimore, they got a lot of white ethnicity. Am I right? The villages, Olinsky, so I remember he said, Dr. Patterson, I'm gonna ask you a question. He said, you may not be able to answer this, and I love this. Dr. Patterson said, quite to the contrary, sir. I am prepared. He said, quite to the contrary. This little man, I just got so much strength from him. And marching with Dr. King here on 2 occasions, when the riots broke out and all of that, and the Black Mondays when they wanted to fire me when I was superintendent there, because I walked out with the teachers in Black Monday. So all of the prices that you paid for leadership. And then near the end, Mr. Mayor, in 2007, you'll see this in my book, and it's the only time I've ever been, it's going to surprise the local people, nobody in my career ever tried to bribe me. Because I just always straight up. But from the 2007 election came up, they wanted me gone. They sent the emissary and said, what's gonna make you happy? What's gonna make you happy? You've done a good job, time now, they're ready for me to leave. So the gentleman that came to me and he said, they want whatever you need is gonna make you happy. I cussed him out. He left my office angry. Then that's when they turned, well, first of all, it just, they don't come to that. So I cussed him out. He came out, then they turned everybody on me. IRS, FBI, the media, and everything. What is it? You're a pastor? Yes, sir. You know Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. They turned the furnace up. But the 4th man showed up.
Yeah, there you go.
Old man showed up. Praise up for that old man.
And he looked like, who?
They turned it up, but the 4th man showed up. You know who my 4th man was in my book? it was the United States Supreme Court because they struck down the honest service law. They had nothing on it. That was one, if you sneeze, they could lock you up with wire service. That's how John got out earlier. The Supreme Court was the fourth man. You're gonna see this in my book. But before that, it was the God that I served. I knew he was going to deliver me. This is a very emotional thing for me, just to think back. See my family, man, and see these kids, man. They're a young man, a beautiful art piece, man, and for you guys to think so highly of me. And then this is the last time we're doing, I'm gonna sit down. I want Eddie Jones to stand up, and you're gonna get a big kick out of this. Then I'm gonna sit down. Now, let me tell you what happened. He knows I'm not gonna leave without. This is Commissioner Eddie Jones. I'm gonna tell you this. It's the truth. Okay, so we at the Peabody Hotel, as they pointed out, we knew they were trying to steal the election. So Harold Ford Sr. and we had about 3 CPAs, and they all went down to the election commission because we knew they were trying to steal it. And so they got everything straightened out. They called back. So the media said, Herentin is declared the winner. So it was like 3 in the morning. You remember that? So what happened is, I'm getting ready to make my speech. TV cameras everywhere. So we get bomb threats. Oh God, my mom was there. I think my mother had a heart attack. They said, Mom fainted. So I got all these TV cameras. I said, man, what about my mom? Where's Mom? And then she said, Mom. I said, this is like, the streets are packed everywhere, thousands of people everywhere. I said, well, where's my mom? You know, so then she said, your mom is okay. So he said, Doc, we gotta get you out of here, man. There's bomb threats. We gotta get you out. So Ed was on the police department. He drove the car. They got me out of there, and Eddie is the most reckless driver. To get me out of there because of the bomb threat. But anyway, I love you guys, and God bless you. Continue to serve.
Don't go nowhere, we're not finished yet. Wait here, come on, sit back down. Dr. Herentin, thank you so much. You know, one thing I didn't tell anyone is that as you were talking, I was reminded, in my corporate days over 20 years ago, you saved my career. I'd flown into Memphis, and we were at the Peabody. And you said, hey, how's my friend doing in Atlanta? And I said, I just left him in Atlanta, he was okay. You said, you don't know what I'm talking about, do you?